We live in a world where people rush to fix what's broken. But what if what's broken isn't meant to be fixed? What if it's meant to teach you something no perfection ever could? This is the story of a man who spent his entire life chasing perfection until one broken clock taught him the true meaning of time and of life itself. Stay till the end, because the final tick will change everything you believe about failure. In a quiet town stood an old clock shop filled with the constant ticking and tocking of hundreds of clocks, all moving in perfect, unwavering rhythm. The owner, Elias, was a master clockmaker known far and wide for his precision. Not a single second was ever lost in his shop. He truly believed that perfection was the only proof of worth. Every morning, without fail, he would polish, tune, and meticulously adjust each and every clock until they all sang together in a flawless mechanical harmony. But one day, he discovered something that shattered his peaceful, perfect world. A beautiful golden clock, his own masterpiece, had begun to tick unevenly. Tick, tock, tick, tock, tock, a single extra sound, a single flaw, and to a man like Elias, it was utterly unacceptable. He felt a sting of shame, a crack in his own perfect facade. Elias tried everything to fix it. He crafted new gears, polished the springs until they gleamed, and installed perfect, counterweighted balance wheels. Yet, the clock stubbornly kept ticking wrong, one beat late here, one breath too early there. It was as if the clock had a mind of its own, a will to be different. Angry and deeply ashamed, he hid the clock away in the dusty attic, out of sight. "No one must ever see my failure," he muttered to himself, his voice tight with frustration. Years passed. His shop remained famous, his reputation as the perfect clockmaker untarnished. He was respected, admired, even revered. But inside, Elias felt a growing hollowness. He had everything perfect, yet somehow, nothing in his life or in his shop felt truly alive. The perfect ticking had become a monotonous drone, a constant reminder of the one failure hidden away. One stormy evening, as rain lashed against the windows of his shop, a young traveler entered, soaked to the bone. He was holding an old pocket watch. It was rusted, the glass was cracked, and it was completely silent. "Sir, could you fix this?" he asked softly, his voice full of hope. "It belonged to my father. It stopped ticking the very night he passed away." Elias took the watch, his expert eyes examining it with a practiced, critical gaze. He sighed. A sound of dismissal. "This can't be repaired," he said coldly, his words final. "It's useless." The boy just smiled, a sad, gentle expression on his face. "Maybe," he replied, "but it still reminds me of him, and that's enough." And with that simple, profound statement, he turned and left, disappearing back into the storm. Something in those words, in the boy's quiet acceptance of imperfection, pierced Elias's carefully constructed armor. It was a thought he couldn't shake. That night, sleep wouldn't come, tossing and turning. Elias found himself drawn up the creaking stairs to the attic. There, sitting under a thick sheet of dust, was the golden clock still ticking its uneven, defiant rhythm. He wound it gently, the sound of the key turning echoing in the silence. Tick, tock, tick, tock, tock. The sound filled the small space. But for the first time, it didn't annoy him. It didn't sound like a mistake anymore. It was comforting. He closed his eyes, just listening, and he realized the clock's rhythm was like a heartbeat, imperfect, a little unsteady, yet undeniably, beautifully alive. In that moment, the sterile perfection of his other clocks seemed cold and lifeless in comparison. The broken clock had a pulse. It had a story. The very next morning, Elias brought the broken golden clock down from the attic and placed it right in the middle of his shop window for the whole world to see. As people passed by, they stopped. They listened. Some smiled, some tilted their heads, curious. A little girl, her face pressed against the glass, asked, "Why is this one offbeat?" Elias smiled, a genuine, warm smile he hadn't felt in years. Because, he answered gently, "It reminds us that not everything must be perfect to be beautiful." Soon, something remarkable happened. Customers began to come in not for the perfect clocks but requesting imperfect ones' clocks, with their own unique ticks, their own uneven rhythms, their own one-of-a-kind melodies. Each one he made told its own story, and for the first time in his long life, Elias's shop was filled not with the cold echo of perfection, but with the warm, vibrant hum of soul. The old clockmaker died years later, peacefully in his sleep, surrounded by his beautifully imperfect creations. But when the villagers entered his shop to pay their respects, they discovered something magical. Every single clock in the room, the perfect and the broken alike, was ticking in perfect harmony with one another, a grand, unified symphony of time. And there, in the center of the room, the golden clock ticked just 1 second ahead of all the others. It was as if it was leading them, reminding them of a simple, powerful truth. Life isn't meant to be flawless. It's meant to be felt. Perfection is sterile. It's cold and unchanging. It's in our flaws, our cracks, our unique rhythms that we find our soul. Your broken rhythm might just be the very beat that makes the world pause. Lean in and listen. So don't hide your cracks, because it's through them that time and truth and life itself find their way into your heart. Always remember, a perfect clock simply measures time, but an imperfect one teaches you its true value. Thank you for listening. If this story resonated with you, please consider liking and subscribing for more stories that look at life a little differently.